Welcome back to Mark's Garage. Today should be a really fun episode because what we're going to do is talk about where in the heck do you bring a vintage or classic motorcycle that's older when you need to have service. And with me today, Chris Shepard, a friend of mine, also part of the Group 66 Motorcycle Club. And Chris has got a number of vintage and classic bikes. One of those is a Honda Goldwing. And so the other day and previously, Chris was filling me in a little bit about his challenge with trying to get some service done. And I thought, you know what? We got to have Chris over. We got to talk about this, have fun in Mark's Garage, and tell your story. So, Chris, thanks for coming over, and let's talk about your Honda Goldwing. Tell everybody what year it is, where it's at, and then roll into your story about the service aspect for your bike.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, Mark. It's funny to hear talk about classic and vintage motorcycles. I don't think of these as necessarily classic or vintage, but it's an 03 Goldwing GL 1800A with ABS, so it's 23 years old. I guess that I hadn't thought of it in those terms. I bought it in 2012 used with about, 10 or 11,000 miles on it. As far as I was concerned, it was brand new from a gentleman who pretty much had aged out. He just didn't feel confident handling that big bike anymore, but otherwise it was immaculate. I wanted an ABS bike, so I've had that. I got it in suburban Chicago where I was living at the time, and now I've had it for at least the last 10 years out in Arizona where I spend the winter in Sedona.
Well, I'm glad that you and I aren't aged out yet. Yeah. We're still riding, we plan to for a while, don't we?
I feel confident yet. I don't know if I'm smart or just... so it's been a great bike, and it's still low mileage. I probably only have 38,000 miles total on it.
Mm-hmm. That is.
I typically don't just go get ice cream on it. Usually if I get it out, it's 100, 150 miles, but I don't get to do that very often. Or go on a long multi-day trip like we did when I met you guys with it in Texas a couple years ago.
Yeah, our Dallas trip,
yeah. And I guess to move on from that, it's always, the bike has always been garage maintained, pretty much dealer maintained. I'm not a mechanic, don't pretend to be, but I understand a lot of the maintenance needs to be done. Mm-hmm. And it was due for a number of things. With Group 66, I knew I had to have it in top running condition because if it broke down on the ride, the cost in drinks and dinner for penalties would have been more than whatever I was going to spend on maintenance.
Yeah.
So that led to, kind of a frustrating runaround getting the bike serviced. Where I had it serviced in Flagstaff before, they'd seen the bike and had done the rear brake recall. And as soon as they got the year and said it's more than 10 years old, they tapped out. So I called down to Scottsdale, where they'd also serviced it before. And it took me about an hour of haranguing on several different calls to reassure them that the bike is a solid, quality, maintained machine, not something that's just been dragged out of a shed.
Or sitting somewhere. Yeah,
or sitting somewhere. And, that sure, they might find a few things when they open it up, but what I needed was fluid, filters, upgrades, and tires. Pretty much routine stuff.
Brakes.
So what I wanted to have done was I needed tires, like I said, fluid and filters, and I wanted to replace the brake lines with braided stainless, mm-hmm. which was a good thing. I wanted that because this is coming off COVID, where the supply chain, so you had two things going on. Dealers worried about having, or any tech for that matter, dealer or not, getting a bike in that's been sitting out in the backyard for years, and it's like, oh, we were told it was good, and then you find out it's junk. And not so much junk, but just the parts, never mind the labor, is going to cost more than the bike is actually worth at that point.
Yeah, the value, parts to value, yeah.
So I understood that reticence, but it's tough to reassure them that no, this isn't that bike. I did finally was able to get it in, but because I had to take it to Scottsdale, and I rented. I was going to have to leave with them a couple of weeks because what happened was we couldn't secure parts right away. The factory brake lines unavailable on back order. But the stainless were available, big upcharge, but that's okay. I wanted that anyway. Tires. We don't know if we can get them. I'm thinking this is one of the most popular bikes Honda has sold in the U.S., and we can't get tires. Well, we got a front from, I think, I don't know, West Virginia, and the rear came from somewhere in California.
Wow.
And it took...
That was still related to maybe COVID and supply chain and all that, right?
Yeah, although how long ago was that trip? That was 2 years ago. So we're a year or two, certainly a year, I think 2 years off of COVID, but it's still all screwed up at the time, and probably still is today. So I took the bike down. I said, look, I just need it back by whatever that date was, a month away. I said, beyond that, I don't need the bike. I had to trailer it down there because I have a ride home and leave it with them. And as the parts came in, they installed them. And it all worked out. But I felt bad because the guy in Flagstaff was a great Goldwing tech.
Yeah.
I go, you missed out on, $4,000 worth of parts and labor. And it all worked out eventually.
Sure.
And the bike runs great, and it all got done by qualified techs. Moving on to just last summer, I needed an oil change kit, whatever. I went to the dealer rather than ordering online. So I went back to the guy in Flag who also handles Kawasaki. And while I'm there at the parts counter, I said, hey, I've got this Goldwing now that has a soft rear brake. I don't know if it's a Brake Master or what. And I go, can you look at it? And they said, what year? And the guy in the counter is like, no, too old. Well, then this other guy, a lot more experienced, the young guy said no. I said, let me go back to talk to the tech. He went back, talked to the tech, and he said, he'll be out here in a second. He said, probably just needs to be bled. He comes out, looks at the bike, goes, oh yeah, I remember this bike.
How about that?
He goes, got time right now? We'll bleed it right now, which was still like a lengthy, I think I was there a couple hours when it was all said and done by the time we got done. But now once I reestablished that relationship with the person face to face, it's like, so I'm good with him again.
Yeah.
Flagstaff's a lot closer than Scottsdale. That's kind of the Goldwing story.
Yeah, that's a great story. But I think it's typical of what you and others who have a bike of that era probably are facing, right?
Yeah. And sometimes it reflects too how busy is the shop. If they got plenty of new stuff, they're almost all multi-make dealers now. You don't find a single line anywhere. Their techs are probably booked, especially probably here in the Midwest where we're very seasonal, unlike Arizona, which is kind of year-round. They can just decide, we don't need the headache potential when we open this up and find other problems.
Yeah.
But I was frustrated with the Goldwing in that chassis, I think, was more or less, the first one I think was 7 years to 10, and then they started making them again from 11 to 17. So, what is it, 12, 13, 14-year run. I'm thinking, how much, there's got to be parts available for this, because how much could have changed underneath, Anyway, I've got it worked out, but it took 3 weeks, renting a trailer, 2 trips, which weren't overnight trips, it was a full burn day to get it. But it was worth it.
Yeah.
It was worth it to put the couple grand on the bike. Like I said, I don't know what I have in the mid-30s, upper 30s, 1,000 miles on it.
It's
versus buying
got a lot of life left
Yeah.
on it. Well, that's a really good story. We'll take a quick break right here, and then why don't we come back and we'll talk about a little more of the reasons at these dealers why they're hesitant about hopping in both feet. So we'll be right back. All right, we're back, and we're going to kind of explore a little bit what the heck is going on at typical motorcycle dealer and repair places, and I guess what I would say their hesitancy about wanting to dive in and work on this stuff. And of course, you experienced a little bit of that on the phone, talking to them. No, more than 10 years old, no. And so I think there's a bunch of reasons, and I guess we can talk about it from a perspective of, as an owner of the bike, and maybe that frustration, but also maybe the perspective of the dealer side, and maybe try to understand that too. But what are your early thoughts? And I'll chime in a little later with things that come to mind for me.
Well, I think I touched on a moment ago that part of it is people sometimes maybe not intentionally misrepresent the bike, but don't understand what they have or what they don't have. And then they bring it in. And I can appreciate they get, the tech gets it up on the stand. And yeah, we want to treat this one thing, but you get in there and it's like, man, you need a lot of other stuff. And then there's the risk. Well, two things happen, I think. One, if it needs more parts, again, aren't readily available. I haven't needed a lot of new parts recently, so I don't know if the supply chain has improved. But let's say, even if it has, overnight at best, but now it's tied up on the stand, especially if it's not in any way mobile anymore. So now you've tied up a workspace waiting for parts that you didn't necessarily know you needed as you got into something. And the other thing is the parts just might not be available.
So it's a little bit of a hassle factor going on there.
Big hassle factor, I think, and guys are running a business. I get that. And I want them to be successful because I need them there. I want them there. My hobby isn't necessarily strictly wrenching on the bike. I just want to really ride. There's always the other risk where it gets up there and they find something else and they quote it, and somebody walks away from it. Mm-hmm. Now you've got, as a dealer, I suppose, you're sitting on parts ordered and. Yeah. Whether it paid for or not, but maybe not, and the bike is on your stand, and you really can't do anything with it, and it's not worth it to anybody to really get it in operation again.
Yeah,
I think that's part of it.
So it's interesting when you told the story about you went back up to Flagstaff, walked into the dealership, and here's this guy that comes back, and he recognized your bike, and it tells me a little bit about the skill level, knowledge, and experience of the technician themselves.
Yeah.
Right? How long have they been around? How well do they know the bike? And then compare that to maybe somebody who's coming in. Or let's say they're brand new. It's hard to get staff at dealerships. So let's say they got a service tech, just finished school, hasn't worked on a lot of that. It could be the technician itself who's employed at the location.
Yeah, I think it's important to find an experienced guy. Just one, you want it done right, obviously, but also that he has experience with the bike. Now, at multi-make dealers, there's so many models and so many different iterations of them. There are a lot of changes, even within the Honda line or the BMW line or whatever. It's not like it used to be where, pretty much every Chevy had pretty much the same engine right at the hood.
Yeah.
It was just the convenience factors that were different. And I think that's part of it as well, is to find somebody then who still knows the bike.
Yeah. You also touched on, Chris, the business model of a dealership, and anybody who is in business, at some point, if you're good, you understand what drives your economic engine, and you have a plan, and you got to stick to it. Otherwise, it's called scope creep, and you start going other ways. And so maybe that's a factor too, that some dealers, as they get bigger, some of the corporate stores, maybe they don't want to deal with that stuff any longer. That's not where their revenue really works.
Yeah, I don't pretend to know their model, but I can only guess that that's certainly a factor in it. And they're just busy. And I would say, especially so in a climate like we are in the upper Midwest, where your season is short.
Yeah.
Which, if you want, we can talk about also the BMW.
Yeah. No, I want to ask you about a couple of the other bikes in just a second.
Yeah, sure.
So let's see. One other thing that maybe comes to mind in terms of why dealers are hesitant about that. The other point, you talked about the cost of value. I think that, to me, it comes down to what about the skill level? Do they want to do it? Do they have a tech that's knowledgeable? So I think what we can kind of end on in this segment is to really say that working hard as an owner of a bike, you want to find those right people that can help you out, don't you?
Yeah.
And how valuable that is to find them. And I think we're lucky, really, in our area. We're in Elkhart Lake, Plymouth, Wisconsin, just down the road from us. We've got Wolf Motorsports over there, and Josh, who runs that. And he is just a highly qualified, not afraid, figured out, work with you kind of a guy. We're lucky to have him as a resource. And not everybody has that kind of a resource. And so we kind of lucked out with that, didn't we?
Yeah, and I'm kind of reluctant to share this, but I will share it with you. When you find a quality tech like that, and you've got something that's older, it's not really worth anything to sell, but it's worth a lot to you if you have to replace it because it's in great running order. It's like my '03 Goldwing. I see a lot of years left on that.
Yeah.
If I find something needs to be done, like I said, I'm almost reluctant to admit this, but I won't even ask what it costs sometimes now, or just give me a ballpark. Are we talking $100, $1,000, or $3,000?
Yeah.
But beyond that, I won't even ask because I know the guy is good and it's going to be done, and I want it done. I don't want to dicker over.
Yep.
I'm going to bring in these Amazon parts or some crap and expect you to install it.
And if it was going to be extreme in terms of a cost, they're going to tell you.
Yeah.
If it's way out there. But I like your approach because it shows you trust them.
I trust them, and I want to use good parts.
Yeah.
And not bringing a basket of something bought on eBay. Which not that there isn't good stuff out there, but
yeah,
I want to use the stuff that the tech wants to use,
designed for it.
Yeah,
and that they're happy with too. Okay. Well, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, let's talk a little bit about just a few more bikes that are in your collection. That not only are you dealing with this with a Goldwing, but you got other models you're dealing with this on, right?
Right.
Okay. All right, Chris, a great story. Thank you about the Goldwing, and I know that there's a lot of folks that follow the channel that are Goldwing owners and riders, and let's talk for just a minute more about Goldwings. I was thinking about our group 66, so I'm a Goldwing owner and a rider. It's sitting right here behind us, my 2024. You have your 2003.
Yeah.
We think about in our group, let's talk about just all the other folks. Jeff has a 50th model year, 2025 Goldwing DCT. We've got Greg. He's got a 2018 Goldwing DCT. We've got Jeff, another Jeff, who bought my 2018 Goldwing that he rides. We've got Steve. Steve has a 2018 airbag model in blue. And let's see what else. Tim
has...
what year is Tim's?
I don't know, but it's my chassis. It's
okay.
I think it's a 7 or 8. It's that first run of 2003 to 2010, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, and his is in yellow.
Yeah.
So we've got quite a few folks with Goldwings, and I think that it's neat that we're part of the Goldwing family and that there's great things to talk about. But there's other bikes and there's other makes. We all have those. They know that the folks know that I got a bunch of different bikes here, and so do you. And so in your case, you've got some more classics and vintage. The BMW, right? The RT.
1999 1100 RT. That thing has about 44,000 miles on it. Same story.
Yeah.
Long trips when I can, but otherwise just don't ride it that much. And I love the bike. I remember back in the day when I'd stop in Michelin's, they'd always want to encourage me to test drive a new bike, and I said, I'm not even getting on it because I know I'll buy it. And the extra money I spend, I don't think I'll be happy enough to justify it, so I just keep my 99 RT going, which I love.
And with your RT, though, you have found some mechanics over in that area, right? In Beaver Dam, who maybe were connected to the previous dealer, who know the bike, and so you've got a nice resource over there.
Yeah, shop Big Mike's are the best. I think they can service anything. I can't speak to that, but Harleys and BMWs, they know inside out. Great shop.
Yeah. What else in terms of other bikes that you have the same challenge with, or is that it?
I haven't had so much challenges because the bikes are pretty good condition, haven't needed much in the way of service other than oil. I started out, my first bike was a 75 Kawasaki 175 Enduro F7 with the carburetor down in the crankcase. And I got, finally, after 25 years, I got tired of all the buzziness on that and moved on to a 2000 Kawasaki 250 Super Sherpa, which is kind of my grocery getter. I put a milk crate in the back, and I've got that out in Arizona just to bomb around on Forest Service roads and things like that.
Beautiful.
It's been bulletproof.
Yeah.
And then I've got a 2003. It's 23 years old. Honda Reflex.
Yeah.
That while I change the oil all the time, it still hasn't come up for its first service after break-in at 4,000 miles yet. But it fires off every day, and
Isn't that neat?
it's got anti-lock brakes. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Love that one. And I forgot to mention, I've got also another 2003 Honda Elite that
Okay.
is indestructible. I don't know how many miles it has on it. I bought it out of somebody's front yard at a garage sale for $400,
Wow.
and I've had that for 15 years. And
Isn't that something?
It's indestructible.
Yeah.
It doesn't go very
Honda
fast.
Elite, is that like a 110 cc?
80 cc.
80, yeah. They made an 80 cc. Okay.
Step through scooter.
Wow. Okay.
And now it's just hard to find time to
Yeah.
run enough gas through all of them.
Well, knowing Chris, I can tell you that he really takes care of his equipment, understands the importance of maintenance and preventive maintenance and all that, and you do a great job. And it's neat to see that you've got these machines that you really enjoy. You take care of them. But in today's episode, we really wanted to focus a little bit about, what do you do when you've got some older stuff and you want to get it fixed? And I think we can summarize by really saying you have to search, you have to do a little digging, you have to be persistent, and you have to find the right people that you can enjoy working with who really understand what you're trying to do and who really want to help you.
And it can be a task sometimes to run them down.
Yeah.
It took me a while to find the guys at Big Mike's in Beaver Dam,
Okay.
and they're fantastic. But yeah, you just keep asking around. I rarely use a phone book. It's always word of mouth. I always find somebody to talk to,
Yeah.
and they'll put you on to the next guy.
Yeah. Super. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us today. I'm glad everybody could join us. Thanks for hanging in there for this episode of Garage Talk here at Mark's Garage. Thanks again, Chris.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Got it.